can get a picture in tonight anyway.
WU7N testing.
KD7ZYM monitoring.
WU7N.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the '08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society takes to the air with digital amateur television in the DVB-T format. We transmit on 70 centimeters to Cougar Mountain repeater. It spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about our group, Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our internet page. There you'll find the exact frequencies we transmit and receive on. Also, you'll find a link to YouTube where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions for our nets. So with that information out, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. This is Dave, KD7CYM. Hearing none, welcome back to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Signed in by video already is Ron, KD7QKU, Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles, James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue, and Carlos on Clyde Hill, 87NP, and myself, Dave, KD7CYM. Is there anybody else wishing to check in? Again, welcome back to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. Let's go to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave, KD7QKU. Oh, Dave, I think you need to mute Discord. Yeah, Dave, you need to mute Discord.
Dave, mute.
I think Lee needs to mute too. Dave and Lee, you need to mute Discord. Mute Discord. Can you mute Discord?
Good evening again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television. Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net experiencing some difficulties in audio transmissions on 2 meters. So with that, let's try again. Back to Ron, KD7QKU.
Dave, mute.
Well, I'll try it again. It was going nuts.
Everybody needs to mute. Dave, mute your Discord, please. Mute your Discord.
Okay, we'll try it again. Yeah, that sounds better. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, Carlos hears me. I don't know if anybody else hears me. Well, let's see. Gee, this has been kind of uneventful last few days. You know, I've been suffering with this sciatic on my right leg, sciatic nerve, I guess. And I thought I was getting a little better, but I got up this morning, it was pretty sore again. So I spent the whole day on ice and heat and ice and heat. So I haven't hardly been out or haven't done anything since the last time we met. So I really don't have much to talk about. So now that we got all the noise settled, I'm going to turn it back to Dave, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks with that. And my apologies, this is KD7CYM. Let's move on to Port Angeles to Lee, N7KC.
Okay, very good. Well, I think I get an echo, so I just dropped the phones and the microphone is up here. Well, good evening, all. This is N7KC Lee in Port Angeles, and it's fun to see you all tonight. I don't think I was doing that. I had no audio connection to Discord, and I had the speakers killed, so there wasn't any sound here, and I got headphones, so I don't think I was the audio culprit. But whatever. Seems to be working fine now. Ron, you sounded good there at the final analysis. Um, uh, Carlos, you can nod if this is true. Is that a countdown number for how long I've got it before things disconnect or whatever? Kind of a timeout. Is that a timeout timer that I see counting down on the stream? No, no. Okay. Well, it says 82 seconds at the moment, so I don't really know what that is. I kind of thought it was a countdown timer. Anyway, okay. Well, everything seems to be working pretty nice. Very good. Congratulations to all you technical people over there. It's a busy time over here for me. Our local club seems to do everything on Wednesday nights, and sometimes Saturday nights we have company or we try to go out. We're trying to make the best of what we've got. You know what I mean? And there's an awful lot going on here in Port Angeles. Quite an arty town, lots to do. And so we're trying to keep up with it a little bit. Anyway, I will not hold this. I will go to my Indian hit just for fun. Uh, I like this thing. Okay. And then I got my HP camera here, which I can on the laptop. And the other one is a Logitech that's sitting on top of it and plugged in. So, Dave, I'm going to send it back to you. This is N7KC, Leonport and
N7KC, thanks with that. Let's go to James, WU7N.
Okay, let me ask for an audio check here. Everybody, I think, is on the digital side muted. I see a thumbs up from Dave. Okay. Well, I take my hat off to Carlos and Rob and everybody else that has put so much time, energy, and effort into this. This is really amazing that you have gotten everything in the giant machine here to behave pretty much. It's amazing to me that all this stuff works as well as it does. So I'm going to let go of the mic here and see what happens. Oh, that's cute. A little chickadee noise. It's like from the Alien cartoon. So anyway, let's see. Today I went to my nephew's son's second birthday. So I am a grand uncle, I think, is what I'm called. And he is a grand nephew. If anybody knows what that is, Carlos, you must be well, what is, if it's my nephew's son, does that make me a grand uncle? I'm not sure. So, well, anyway, so I did that, and that was really interesting. Just to see a lot of the same people I haven't seen for the past year. The other thing I mentioned is that I have a friend in Switzerland I talk to weekly, and I have never met his child face to face, and yet his child recognizes me and says hello when we meet on Teams, which is really odd. I mean, if I ever meet her in person, she'll have to connect that I'm the face on the screen with the actual live person in front of her. It'll be interesting to see if that day ever comes. So anyway, we live in really magnificent times here with all this technology. This is James, WU7N. I see Richard, K7ITX, just joined us, so I'll turn it back to Dave, our net control for Western Washington Amateur Television Society.
WU7N, thanks for that, and the net does recognize Richard, K7ITX, has joined the net. So, Richard, what say you? Well, moving down the list, let's go to Carlos, 87NP.
Okay. Yeah, and there's audio, there's video, lots of technology for sure. Good evening, everyone. Today I think I'm reducing on the number of headphones that I can wear at the same time as I just relax on seeing everything working. And I think one of our next steps in technology is to get rid of Discord. So maybe we have to build some application that we can all run, that we can all control remotely and automatically. So in terms of things on the screen and just answering some of the questions, I don't know about the grand uncle and granddad, or that one I don't know. It's out of my scope of technology. But I can ask ChatGPT for that. I'll let you know. Lee, on the timer, I mean, it's a yes and no. So it is a timer that is counting down for the timeout of the audio that goes in the 2 meter. So this is to make sure that the 2 meter repeater doesn't time out and then just kicks us out. So what will happen, and as you can see on my image right now, is that when it gets to 0, there will basically be a little bit of a delay on the repeater, where we will turn off the PTT. It will count, I think, to 3 seconds just to give a timeout, and then it will arm the repeater again. So it's basically just, you should be aware that when you go to 0, there's basically a 2 to 3 seconds interruption for whoever is listening only on the 2 meters, but you can keep talking. You don't have to stop the transmission. So for example, right now the audio will have stopped, or maybe a little dephase on the 2 meters, and then it will continue. Lee, you might have not, I don't think you were here last weekend. Let me see if I can just show you what we put together, or if you have a chance, you can to the broadcast that we did. But this is the new diagram of everything that we have up and running at the repeater site. It's basically a new PC that has the multiple receivers turned in and all the RTMP and all the different nodes. And so I don't know if you have an all-star node at home, but if you have, you can also just connect it straight to one of these nodes, and you'll also be able to hear the audio. Um, Something else that you'll notice today is the blue bars at the top of the image. That's the audio bars as being measured at the repeater side. And so that's what the repeater is sending out. Let me just switch back into my image. It's what the repeater is sensing in terms of audio. Something else that I'm trying, and I'm working with some folks on that, is to have a system where I could have the closed captions always going with the audio at the same time. And I know that sometimes we have a little bit of difficulty with lower audio, and I think I'll be able to have a real-time closed caption systems that could be running even if by some issue we are not able to get audio. So that's it for now. I hope the transmission went well, and I'll turn it back to Dave, Net Control, and then on the next turn I'll tell more about the news. Back to Dave, 87 NP in Clydesdale.
87 NP, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. Get an ID here. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 repeater. Well, here in Lake City, I've got 66 degrees and it's sunny outside. What a difference from the last net we had where it sort of dipped down into darkness during the net. And for me today, with the nice warm weather we've had, my rhododendrons were looking like, please give me a drink of water today. So I watered down my rhododendrons. And about 3 hours later, the leaves said thank you. They kind of like raised their head up in the air, saying, that was such a good drink. So I got that done today. Now, outside of that, it's been pretty well laid back, doing not much of anything. So that's what's happening here in Lake City. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. I'm going to send it back to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dave, and I guess I should say, turn my 2-meter radio down, say good evening to the group, and nice to see everybody. I think Richard might be in Portland. He was, I think, going to go down to the car races, so he might have a report. Carlos, thank you very much for everything you're doing. We had so much feedback and everything the first time around. It was kind of crazy over here, but it's straightened out now. Carlos, your picture is always so good. I look at myself, my face is a little red, and I'm a little washed out, I would say. Lee, you know, everyone else has a nice picture, but yeah, like I say, my sciatic nerve's been bothering me, so I haven't been doing anything, so I don't have much to talk about. No, I guess that's it. I'm just going to send it back to KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks for that. Let's go to Lee again in Port Angeles, N7KC.
Okay, I think I'm hot and ready to go now. There we go. The video just popped up here. Well, I like my picture. It's pretty nice. Ron, I might agree with you that you might look slightly washed out, itty bit. And Carlos, just yeah, this you and your cohorts have just done yeoman's work here. This is pretty nice, pretty darn slick, and it is a lot of stuff to get going and work as well as it does. I mean, it's just really nice. My question, I sent you chat on Discord. But what does the little spectral insert doesn't seem to change much here. That's right in the middle of the streaming presentation on the browser. So you might just, when it comes your turn, you just might mention that. Curious. And thank you for the discussion on the countdown timer. Okay, on that. Um, yeah, I'm wearing yellow glasses now. Anytime I'm doing computer work, I seem to be getting. I'm going to have some laser work done on my right eye on the 25th of August, and I seem to be getting a funny eye strain in my right eye. I've had scans, I've had all kinds of stuff done, trying to figure out if I had a tumor. I don't, and that sort of thing. But the yellow glasses cut all the intense blue light off of an LCD screen, of which there's an ample supply. So it's more comfortable to have them on. Anybody that finds their screens a little harsh, you can actually adjust your display on your computer so that it warms it up. But the yellow glasses really make quite a difference. It's an interesting. You don't even know after a while. You don't even know you've got them on. Anyway, I don't have anything else. It's just fun to see everybody tonight and participate. So anyway, I'll send it back to you, Dave. Thank you very much. This is N7KC.
N7KC, thanks with that. Let's move down to James in Northeast Bellevue, WU7N.
Well, thank you, Dave. And I got the answer. I followed Carlos' suggestion. I went to ChatGPT. I am a grand uncle, is what I am. And they explained how that comes about and even offered to draw me a family tree. So it is amazing times we live in. I've been studying a little bit about how AI and the large language models work, and they don't actually think or reason. But then when you consider that most people don't think or reason, I'm not sure that we're that far ahead of them. Anyway, that was a joke. I do find the tool to be incredibly useful. I was doing some research on semiconductor stocks the other day, and I think it did, and would have taken me probably 4 or 5 days, really, if I'm honest about it. And I don't mean to claim that that's working, 8 or 16 hours a day. It's just how long it would have taken me, and it came up with the answers I was seeking in about 45 seconds. I spot checked a lot of what it provided against Morningstar and some other sources that I think are fairly credible, and it was all correct. So it certainly is changing life very quickly. In many different ways. So I don't know when I let the repeater drop if I have to wait for that chirp, that high-low chirp, before I start again or not. If anybody has comments on that, let me know. Well, let's see. That's all kind of the hot news, so to speak, other than the weather. I guess I did several things that are kind of unusual for me in the past week or two. Helped out with an accident. That was good in that the person, I guess, is going to be fine, recover fully. But I determined that if you're in a setting and you have medical gloves in your back pocket, before you even get the second glove on, you're in charge. I won't ever do that again. So that's something to remember if you carry gloves around in your back pocket, whether you're qualified or not. But I guess I looked like I knew what I was doing. So let's see, what else has been going on here? I am going to try next Thursday to see if I can move something big and heavy around using a pallet jack. Take a video there. It could be a good YouTube video if it all comes crashing down. I see Lee has the gloves. That makes you an expert at any accident scene. Well, this is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. I'm going to turn it back to our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Dave, take it away.
WU7N, thanks for that. And I see that Richard is back. K7ITX. Let's try Richard.
Okay. Well, hey, Carl, can you give me a thumbs up if I'm coming through okay? Can you hear me, Carlos?
And no luck with Richard. Let's try Carlos again. 87NB.
Okay. I think I'm back, and with all the right setup. On the thank you for the camera remarks. I do like this camera a lot. It's a Canon mirrorless, and it does a good job on all sorts of light conditions. So I do enjoy using it. And Lee, I think I gave you the answer. There is that when you are on the spectrum, the spectrum, what we call the spectrum screen there, we now have two SDR radios running at the repeater. One is looking at the receiver frequencies, and the other one is looking at the transmission. And so we're able to see the shape of the signal that we are transmitting, which is pretty good. And it's always good to see that things keep running without much intervention, because that's always the critical aspect. To James' point, I don't know yet. It's a good question on the repeater drop. That's a Wade question, because I'm not clear on what's the behavior of this new 2-meter repeater. It does have an extended delay of staying on, and I think Wade was still trying to adjust that. So I'm not sure. On the water and plants, I have a story to share. So I moved into this place September of 23. So this is a place that we built from scratch, and the soil here was a lot of just sand underneath, and they did not put enough topsoil, and so during the summer, the kind of a big piece of the lawn would just kind of die of horrible death. And the recommendation is that I would have to keep watering every 2 hours, which was a little bit intense, we could say. And so I finally said, okay, this makes no sense. It's like, why are we going to make this work? And so they reflected on it, and yeah, this is probably never going to work. So we have to put proper topsoil and enough so that we can really have kind of some root on the lawn. And so last month, they basically reaped all the lawn and all the sod, and they just did it again. And so they were quite fast, kind of over 1 week. My signal. Where is my signal? Okay, my signal is back. I don't know what happened there at the repeater. And so after 1 week, I had a complete new lawn and doesn't require now the every 2 hours water. I like that feature of being in that mode. But we also have some of those plants that from time to time do need some additional water, and especially with this hot sun. Um, my wife has a veggie garden, and some of the lettuces are taking too much sun and not surviving. So that's another problem to manage. Hopefully ChatGPT can help, because I really don't know what to do there. I see people dropping from Discord, so it's again another reminder that this is problematic. Now I see Lee and Ron after James was frozen for a little bit. I think I don't see Dave. So hopefully Dave is still there, and I'll turn back to net control. Dave from 87NP here in Clyde Hill.
DATV, thanks for that. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM. And for ID on the 2-meter repeater, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. Again, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, everything seems to be running along pretty good on the net finally. I had a problem in the beginning of the net. Discord shut down, and then I had to reboot the computer. And when it did that, it came back unmuting me. So anyway, finally got that taken care of, and it's died once more again. So I'll probably have to be rebooting the computer to get Discord back. But very interesting. Anyway, I've been looking into getting a machine that's capable of doing Windows 11 for Microsoft's product. I looked at a Surface with the Snapdragon chip in it, and so we'll have to see how that goes. Hopefully I'll take possession of that in another week and try to figure out how it all goes together and see how great that is. But being a Microsoft product, they have yet to fail with me in the past. Anytime I get a new Microsoft item that's up to date, so I'll be looking forward to that. So I'm going to move it back up to the top to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you, Dave, KD7QKU. Well, Carlos, I have a sprinkler system here, and we have half of the yard has been new sod, and half of the yard is old yard. And whoever put the sprinkler system in must have been drunk, because you would think it would be in sections, but it's not. You get a sprinkler over one side of the house, you get a couple in front, you get some flower beds, and then you get, it's just terrible, but it works. The problem right now is that I've been running it, but I can't figure out how to get it to go on every other day. So either I have to turn it on manually and have it run, when I want it to start it. I can start it manually and it'll run, and I can set the length of time I want it to run. But for some reason, I can't figure out how to get it to run every other day. I'd like to have it run every other day, but right now it's running every day. So let's see, what else did someone talk about? And I was going to talk about it. I don't know now. Short memory anymore, you guys. Darn, I didn't make any notes either. Well, that's too bad. So anyway, I guess I enjoy listening to everybody else, and I guess I'll just turn it back to Dave, and I'll maybe make a note this time. How would that be? KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks for that Let's move on to Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay. Whoops, there we go. My call popped up, and now we ought to get some video here. There we go. All right. Well, very good. Um, yeah, Carlos, same thing here. All but three of us dropped off of the Discord, but now it seems like the party's back in full swing. Um, well, it's been fun tonight. It's always fun to see what you guys are doing. And I guess once Dave will have to change his preamble a little bit, depending upon what comes down, I guess, in the next the near future. Um, it's time for Watts to do their taxes, and I'm on it. So maybe tomorrow I'll have that completed. I'll let you all know by Groups IO. Nothing else here. Let's see. I don't even know what the time is. Let me peek. Oh, halfway through. Actually, I'm going to. I think this will be my last transmission. I got to go check on Paul, and with that, I'll say 7-3 to you guys. And I hope you all had a really good field day. By the way, we had a dandy here in Port Angeles. It was really fun. Anyway, I'll send it back to you, Dave. And thanks, everybody. This is N7KC in Port Angeles. Go ahead, Dave.
N7KC, thanks for that. We got your 7-3. Thanks for checking into the net. And let's go to Richard again and see if we can find him. K7ITX. And no response from Richard, so let's go to James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
Okay, this is James, WU7N, and I was just about ready to get up and go get something and show for show and tell here, but maybe that'll be next Wednesday. I was able to repair a stove. I don't really know how old it is, but the design of the stove is probably at least 40 or 50 years old. It's a little camp stove, but I was able to repair a valve on it. It works by self-pressurization, and it's a Swedish design. And so I was able to get it all working, and I polished it a little bit today, so it looks quite nice. And I tested it this afternoon, and it was able to boil 16 ounces of water in about 4 minutes. So, oops, stand by. Okay, I guess for some reason, Discord decided to unmute me or something. I hope I came through. Is my audio okay, Dave? Okay, all right, good. Audio is still working. I really do have to scrub this computer and reinstall the Windows operating system and see if that will fix some things here. I think there's just too much on it for the age of the machine. It's just too old. It needs to have its teeth cleaned. That's what one friend of mine called it. I think in my case I need to pull all the teeth and put in implants and see if that works. So anyway, this is James, WAU7N. With 20 minutes left, I'll go as long as you guys want to go. I am just absolutely amazed that everything works. And there's Richard. So, Dave, take it away, WAU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
WU7N. Now we got Richard back. Let's try him. K7ITX, Richard.
Okay. Well, it's always a little bit of a challenge when you're out of town. I made it. Okay. So yes, I came down to Portland, as I heard Ron mention to you guys, it's called the Rose Cup. Your large bore type engine, big V8s, GT3 type cars have have, well, they call it the 64th running. So, I mean, I'm sure it's not the same type of car, but the Rose Cup is itself a 64th running. I didn't come here to see the Rose Cup, though. I didn't come here because to see my team race, because they didn't come. And they didn't come for a sad reason. They just don't have the manpower to go to this race and then another race down here after. And the one at the next to the last weekend of this month is more important for this. So why did I come? I'm just testing out my Rip Van Winkle theory to see how much has changed. And, well, a fair amount. It's been kind of fun. You know, when you've been through an experience like I've been through over the past year, 2 years, and you're able to walk around and not carry a lot of supplemental gear, it's a strange feeling to go places that you haven't been for a year that you really enjoyed in the past. So that's what this trip is really all about, just to have some fun. So I'm here as a regular spectator. I didn't get any special privileges. I had to find handicap parking, you know, that kind of thing. But I really enjoy being back here in Portland. I say Portland, I mean Vancouver, but I lived in Portland for 8 years, so I guess I can say back to Portland. So anyway, that's what I know so far. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, good for you getting out. Boy, it must be a great feeling to be able to travel again and be able to participate as a viewer in some of those events that you're very much involved in. So let's go to Carlos, 87NP.
Okay, thank you very much. 87NP back. Richard, good audio, good copy. I was thinking of you earlier because I was watching this YouTube channel that you might be a follower also. There's this guy that does a lot of work on Mercedes cars, and he bought a GT3 on an auction for half the price, and it was one that used to be running on their Academy Racing in California, and it was at an auction place for 3 years, and it just got it, and I think he's on the second episode of it, and he got it up and running, and is quite happy with it. So you might want to check it out. I think it's called Legit Streetcars. It's a nice fellow. On the irrigation, Ron, I like my system very much. It's called Rachio, Rachio, and usually I control it just on my phone. I have 16 zones, different zones that I have to kind of program, but it works really well. And one of the features that I do like a lot is that it connects with the weather system, and so many times it tells me that it's going to skip one of the zones or areas because there's water coming or there's been rain, and so it will just skip. So if you ever want to consider system, that would be one that I would definitely recommend. Dave, you're warming my heart with that Snapdragon selection. This is something that, let me just wait for the timer. And now it's back. This is something that my team has been very much involved. And there's, of course, many Snapdragon versions. Here's one. This is a special edition, which has like a very nice blue color. That's one that I usually carry with me because it has a 5G modem in it also, and so I can use it anywhere when I'm traveling. This is the version from last year, but you have plenty of new versions this year, and it has a phenomenal battery life. So I think you'll enjoy it. And any issue, you just let us know, and we'll figure it out. I think I've reached the. Oh no, I do have another comment for James. I don't see James anymore, but he's probably listening. Just Discord problems. Stav, and I have an issue that I've been researching also. It's the gas igniter that we have here on the stove. And basically what happens is that if you don't put anything on it, the gas will just be ignited and it's fine. Once you put a pan on it, it seems like it exhausts the oxygen or something, and then the igniter keeps going. And so it's like a flip-flop oscillator between igniter and gas being turning on and off until, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes in. So maybe you have suggestions on that also. That was it for now. Back to Dave, Net Control from 87 NP here in Clydesdale.
NP, thanks for that. This is Dave. And get an ID here again for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, I will be a proud owner of a Snapdragon processor and a Microsoft computer. I'm looking forward to the Surface model that I ordered, so I'll find out when it arrives to see how well it is. This one doesn't have the 1 terabyte. It's only got half that as far as being able to have memory there. But outside of that, everything I've read looks like pretty good specs. And anyway, I wish Microsoft does well with this unit and the others that it's coming up to. I'd be looking forward to a desktop unit that I hopefully they will introduce later this year. So that's where I'm at now. So I'm going to move it back up to the top to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. Good. KD7QKU here. Well, my system's a Rainbird, but it's an old system, and it too had an outside sensor. If it rained, it would detect the rain, and then it would shut it off or whatever. So anyway, no manual with it or anything. That's the problem. And you mentioned computers. Yeah, I probably should replace my laptop, but I had a bunch of trouble with it tonight. I don't know why. Every now and then it acts up. Comes on, shuts off, comes on, shuts off, and messes around, and then finally works. So I guess as long as it works, I'll keep using it. But and then Discord, yeah, Discord's okay. I don't mind Discord. It seems to be pretty steady for me. Richard, it's kind of too bad that the guys didn't come down and race, but I can understand that just one weekend after the last race they might not be prepared. But that's too bad. I'm glad that everything's working out for you down there. It's, like you say, kind of old stomping grounds for you. So you didn't tell us how you got there, whether you drove or flew or taken the train. So maybe you can tell us how you got there. What else is going on? Not much, I guess. So with that, I'm just going to turn it back. I enjoy listening to everybody and to see what you guys are doing. KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks for that. And speaking of Richard, let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, well, Ron, I just drove down in my red truck. It's 20 years old, 150,000 miles. It's running like it's brand new. I'm literally. The steering is nice and clean and tight. The engine just purrs. I mean, it's running so good that I don't like to talk about it. Don't ask me why. I think you can figure that one out. But anyway, drove down by myself. I have a real nice suite at the Heathman Lodge. Debbie and Pippa are going to come down here tomorrow, and she's going to meet me for an afternoon drive over to Sandy, Oregon, where we're going to have a nice afternoon and evening with friends that, well, I'll have to say one of my best friends that I've known for, at least 30 years, probably closer to 37 years. We did a lot of hiking together around Mount Hood, and just became just really good, well, more or less drinking buddies. And back in the 80s, and even the early 70s, there wasn't the kind of options for entertainment that you have now. Back in those early pioneer days, you had to kind of dream up your own things to do, whether it was frisbee or croquet or, in the wintertime, get a whole group of friends and gather around and watch sports, So anyway, we're going to see an old buddy from the past. In fact, it's the same person that I flew down to Phoenix to be with his sister when I was there. I just had to see that happen, and so I made it happen. So now I'm going to drive over to his place. Unfortunately, we communicate really well. I speak in English and body language, and he speaks in
Node 564562. Timeout.
The Gator got you, Richard.
it got me, and it was probably the part where I told you I was going to see an old buddy in Sandy, Oregon, and he's the same person that I flew down with his wife to be with his sister when I was in Phoenix this past year. You might have heard that story a couple times from me. And so I'm making this Portland trip, a trip out to Sandy's, just up the foothill of Mount Hood, and we did hiking together, and so Debbie and Pippa are, what is Pippa, by the way? Pippa's a rat terrier. So Debbie and Pippa, our rat terrier, are going to meet me at the hotel, and then we're going to go on to Sandy early tomorrow afternoon to spend the day and the evening. So anyway, just relaxing and traveling a short distance, but gosh, talk about hot. 92 or whatever I think it was. When it gets that hot, I don't even want to know. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for that. Well, let's go pick up James in Northeast Bellevue, WU7N.
Well, thank you, Dave. WU7N Northeast Bellevue. Is Richard coming in on Echolink? Is that what he's coming in on, or is he coming in on All-Star? I see Carlos nodding. I don't know if that's a yes to All-Star or yes, yeah, All-Star. He's coming in on All-Star. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Oh, no, Echolink. He's coming in on Echolink. Oh, well, what I'm hearing here is I'm getting a little staccato. I mean, Richard's very intelligible, but I'm hearing a little staccato coming out of that. Okay, you're hearing the same thing. I didn't think it was my end, but, well, that is amazing that you got those two digital modes working with the repeater. In answer to your question about the pilot light on the burner, the first thing I would do, which you probably have already thought of, is I would, whatever company makes the stove, with whatever that company is, I would call their technical support and tell them about the problem and see what they say about it. Because that does sound odd that as soon as you put the pan on it, the igniter suddenly goes into schizophrenia mode and he keeps lighting even if the gas is already burning. Is that yeah, that's what's happening. Now, it shouldn't be doing that. And so I'm wondering what kind of sensor is on the burner top that is sensing normally would sense the stove or sense the pan that somehow is not sensing properly. A question for tech support for whoever makes that stove. Wow, that is a humbling question, though, because my 100-year-old camp stove, the big breakthrough is there's actually, I mean, this is amazing for technology that's 100 years old. The little screw cap that you unscrew to put the naphtha fuel in, the white gas, it has a little washer inside of it. And I couldn't get it to work, and finally I took the old washer out, which probably was put in there in the 1950s or 60s or 70s or whatever, and put a new in there, and then now it pressurizes properly. So the big breakthrough there was getting that to seal properly, and I learned a lot about that little cap. There's actually a relief valve inside of it. So what that means is if the stove gets too hot or gets overpressurized, for example, at altitude, I could see that happening if you were at altitude and you were in a warm environment. I could see how you could get too much pressure inside of the stove. It bleeds it off. There's a little spring-loaded gizmo inside of the cap that actually will bleed off excess pressure. And to me, that's really amazing. The whole thing is an amazing piece of technology. It is not quiet when it works. It kind of sounds like that recording of the V1 ramjet engines. You know, if you've ever heard those recordings from 1945, That's kind of what this stove sounds like. It's not a quiet stove. It really sounds like it's going to take off there right off the ramp and go bomb London or something. But anyway, it's been fun to figure out how it all works. I got wicking material off Ever Helpful Amazon, and I may replace the wicks inside of it, but it probably doesn't really need that. It seems to work just fine. But someone on YouTube says he replaces his wicks every year just to keep them in tippy-top shape. So that's kind of interesting. I guess maybe they do wear out or something. Well, that's it for me. I see it's 9 o'clock. This is James, WU7N. Let me turn it back to Dave to wrap up the net.
WU7N, thanks. And it is time to wrap up the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. We'd like to thank the CTAC Repeater Association for letting us use WW7 STR's repeater 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, signing off the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening, all.